Oh, welcome in, everyone. Fantasy Farm Sports-Sesh. I am Jack Neary. On a Monday, we've got Mick the Quick with us. How are we doing, Mick?
Doing fantastic, my fine feathered friend. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic as well. I see we retained that house.
We have. We have. There have been a couple
Lessons.
knocks on the door. I refuse to answer. California has some of the best squatting rights in all of the nation, and I'm utilizing them the best I can.
Oh, it's fantastic. You got new house, piano lessons, all this good stuff. I mean, let's get right into it. Let's get right into talking about what our ticker says down below. What are your first NBA draft thoughts?
Um, for every single thing that the NFL does to live up to the hype was the exact opposite of what this NBA draft was this year. It was the most spectacularly boring 3 hours that anybody could have watched of watching, very good talent get placed onto teams that might make an impact. But I don't, again, you don't see like you don't see a Dwayne Wade. You don't see an Embiid. You don't see, these monster guys that are coming into the league, or even a Wemby coming out that's literally going to change a team, literally, physically, and emotionally. And it was just, this guy goes here, this guy goes here, blah 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 blah. You have Castle, phenomenal defender, can't really shoot. Going number 4.
The WNBA was absolutely laced with talent, right? Caitlin Clark, Angela Reese, all these women came out, and there was buzz. There was there was LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade draft buzz, and the WNBA just produced just nothing. Just
The WNBA produced a lot. The NBA
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, I misunderstood you there.
Yeah, the WNBA
it was. It's there's no real drama. There's no real people moving around. I mean, I think, if the biggest. I mean, what was like your biggest, like, hey, I don't know what just happened there, but that happened way too early, or like your first, like, huh?
Well, even the NFL draft had Penix Jr. going to Atlanta after they picked up Cousins, right? Like,
Okay,
if you weren't interested in
right.
the NFL draft, you went, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, you took to your phones and social media and went, "Atlanta's taking another quarterback? Oh, in the top 10? Let's turn on the TV."
Right.
And I think as an industry, you need a turn on the TV moment, and the NBA, I mean, we're drafting European players first every year now.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think it. I don't think it showcases our talent.
But is our talent better than the Europeans?
Maybe the last year that our talent was far and above, or far and past the Europeans, was the year Zion came out. Right? Like, that was the last guy you were like, well, I mean, we got to take this guy.
We're not very successful. That was as successful we've been in the Olympics.
No, we haven't.
It's I kind of mentioned it before we kind of jumped on here, but the last 6 MVPs of the NBA have all been foreign players, and the dream team was 92, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 30 years away. So that's a full generation, if not a generation and a half, of players playing in the Europe League, playing over here, going back home, taking what they've learned, helping them understand how to groom and get their own kids now on that thing. So,
it's more of a blend now. It's
absolutely.
More of a blend. The lines are more blurred. It's not. It's not Michael Jordan versus, I can't even name a player, right? And I think one of the best players from back in that time, maybe a little bit after Jordan, was maybe Ginobili.
Steve Nash. You know,
Steve Nash.
and again, who, if you talk to Shaquille O'Neal, would absolutely yell at me like, "You stole that shit from me. That's fucking bullshit. There's no way in hell that guy should have been MVP." A Ginobili, a Parker.
Parker was France.
And they were slowly starting to implement them. And you really want to call Duncan a foreign? I don't know. I don't think so, but
no, Duncan's.
They started implementing themselves and understanding what it takes to play inside this league and become a more finesse team than they were before. So
yeah, and there are ex-NBA players out there that are touting that the NBA kind of wants this a little bit. They're allowing the league to become a little bit softer so that foreign players can meet the physical demands of American basketball.
Well,
anything to that?
As much as we want to sit here and enjoy it and call it a sport, it's also a business. You're going to want to expand your business the best you can. You want to be able to put the best product you can out there. And if you can get more and more people involved inside of it, and it doesn't hurt the product, then they're going to do it.
Yeah, I hate that it's business first now. I wish it was competition first. It's not. It's a business first. It's protecting first.
It comes with the territory, but yeah.
Again, everything has to change. I understand. We're trying to keep our athletes healthy, but I want to see some anger instead of people stopping, fighting or playing or whatever for dollar signs.
All right. Well, let's transition and we'll see if we can find some anger for you today.
I love anger.
What was the biggest pick? And even though we both know we're probably going to agree on the same thing, what was the biggest pick that you're like, I just can't fucking believe they did that?
The biggest pick that I can't believe they did. So I know that most people want me to say Bronny James, or that it is Bronny James, but let's understand. I want to lay out the dynamic here because there's a lot.
Okay.
LeBron James once again held all the cards. Okay, he's got the stack at the poker table. The Lakers they took their chance at Dan Hurley, swing and a miss. So now we settled for JJ Redick because that's what it is. Again, LeBron was on his podcast. LeBron did not opt into his contract. So do you want LeBron James or nobody? Because I'm going to tell you right now that you're going to want somebody to sell to the LA market. You weren't going to get Paul George guaranteed. You weren't going to get any of the other free agencies. So the way I look at it is that LeBron sat there and went to Rob Pelinka and he went, look it, I want you to draft my son. You'll get me at a discount because I want you to have more chips so that you can play the game in free agency and make this team better. If you don't want to, I have the opportunity to walk, or I'll opt in and take all the money. So what were the Lakers to? It's not a case of nepotism. He strong-armed them. They had, what was Rob Pelinka to do? That's my thing. So I don't think the surprise, they had to sign Bronny to get LeBron. And I think they looked at the cost of it, which was the 55th pick, and they went, well, we're not really getting Bronny just with the 55th pick. We're getting LeBron James, and he said he'll take a pay cut.
Right.
So in good faith, we can get a Klay Thompson, or we can get some other player that has been in this league and is a veteran presence to come and play with LeBron James. That's what we're getting if we do that with 55. Because if we don't do it with 55, who do we have? What does our team look like? We have no idea. So I don't think it was as bad of a mistake as everybody kind of makes it out to be. I I really don't love much of this draft. I think LA made a great pick with 17 taking Dalton Connect.
Absolutely.
Those
Absolutely.
are my
I mean, we've been doing this February,
yeah,
January,
yeah.
and I remember, college season was kicking through, and of course I was head over heels in love with UConn and blah, 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 blah. And then one night, like a Tennessee Alabama game came on, and I just sat there with my eyes and my mouth wide open and being like, that right there is the best player in college basketball. Now, the question is, why did he go 17?
I don't really know. I
He's
don't know the answer.
24 years old. He's almost 25. So he's up in age. So you may be seeing somewhat of the best product you're going to get from him right now. And that's the only reason why I can see him sliding that way. Unless there's some sort of random dirt, like, I don't know, some players that are coming out of Duke where we don't even know what's going on. But I don't know. I was absolutely stunned that, he to play a year with LeBron James, and he has the same type, he has the same drive, same strength, same shooting, sees the floor well. It's not too shabby to learn a year from him. And you got Clay,
like
hopefully.
Does he feel like Mike Miller?
I don't know. I didn't.
Look, Mike was awesome.
I don't know.
Played with LeBron.
I don't know.
And he
awesome.
Absolutely, that knee didn't last very long, but he shot the lights. To me, it feels like a Mike Miller pick. And again, it's an extension of something that JJ Redick would want in a player. And I don't think why are we drafting age all the time? Because here's the thing. If you draft a 19-year-old, it takes him 3 to 4 years to mature.
Sure.
How old is he then? 23.
I don't know. 3 plus 19 is 37.
We got nothing, though. We didn't get extra time. Really, you didn't. If I'm drafting a 24-year-old versus a 23-year-old, I'm drafting the product that's done. Good. I want to finish the product.
You hope it's not done. But again, it also depends on what, the coaching and everything else that you have there. I can sit there and draft a 23-year-old that learned from Hurley for 3-4 years versus a 23-year-old that learned from Colorado State. And I still think I take it fast enough. And please, I'm not trying to belittle Colorado State's coach. I don't even know who he is. But you may not get
fired.
You may not get the experience you have on the floor, but you're definitely getting the experience of what it takes to win championships, of what it takes to put yourself in the best position every day to be successful. And that's that goes on a lot more and everything else. So we literally had I looked at it after day one. It was the USA Today poll of who had the best draft after day one. And there was one team on there that got an A+. It was the Los Angeles Lakers. Because somehow, some way, that kid slipped to 17 and they went, give me that. And then I understand LeBron's got to take a pay cut.
How do you think my take on that?
What's that?
What do you think about my take on the why the Lakers did it? I think that's why they did it. He sat down and asked for a favor and said, "I'll give you a favor in return."
It's sure. It could easily be hindsight's 2020. We could sit here. We're not in the boardroom. Right. We're not sitting across and listening to these guys. For all we know, LeBron came in there and said instead of his lead sentence was, "You need to draft my son, and in doing so, I will take a pay cut." Or he could have come in there and saying, "Listen, I want to retire as a Laker, and I want to put this team in the best position I possibly can. So I'm willing to take a pay cut to stay here to help you guys draft free agency and whatever we can and do. And you and I both know I'd love for us to be able to draft my son." Those are the exact two same things, just presented totally different. So I don't know how it comes. I don't know whether, after an hour, hour and a half of, the board on one side, Hurley listening to this, LeBron over here going like, look, here's the deal. I'm going to tell the media that I'm going to take a pay cut. But if I don't like the draft picks that we saw, I may not take a pay cut.
Yeah, I reserve the right.
I mean, now all of a sudden you're like, what the? I mean, you've got Joey and Rocco across the table, strong arming you, being like, you're done. Like you don't have any other options. You have your first overall pick and 55's gone. Doesn't matter. It's got to be Bronny. I still wish so deeply like somebody at like 52 went, LeBron James. It just see like that would have been like awesome.
So do you know what happened with that? I'm gonna tell you what happened with that. And this was reported as fact the other day because it was rumor going forward. If every team got a phone call from his agent, besides the Lakers. The Lakers did not, but all these other teams got phone calls, and they said, if you draft him, he'll go play in Australia. That was Woj. That happened. Every team got that phone call. It's not made up.
He would sit out a year. He would go to play in Australia for a year and then get redrafted again.
He'd forego his first year of eligibility to play in the NBA. They might own his rights, but then it gives the Lakers an opportunity to trade for him and or package a deal or whatever. But he's not playing for another team besides where his father is, in the Lakers uniform. And it was made...
that just makes everything that much more effed up.
Huh?
That just makes everything more effed up there. But I get it. You saw it with John Elway. You saw it with Eli Manning, with Phillip Rivers. You've seen it where players literally are like, nope, I'm not. Bo Jackson, I'm not fucking playing for them. Fuck you.
Yeah, Eli Manning.
Go fuck yourself. I'm going to play for you. If you don't like that, I'll go over here. I'll go to this sport. I'll go over here and do that.
He was going to go hop with the kangaroos.
Maybe I'll sit here and I'll take up golf for a year. Look at John Smoltz.
John Smoltz can golf, though.
Sidebar. Did you see him on TV?
No.
I think it's the second time that he's been out on the course that has been literally drilled in the face with a golf ball. He looked like he went 10 rounds with Tyson. The announcers, they were warming it up and they were queuing it up and you got a lot of makeup on. So do you. Yeah. Who do you use? I don't know, but I think I'm going to need more tomorrow. Yeah, you might. And they showed him and I was like, oh buddy. He got crunched.
Poor Smoltzy. All right, so let's talk about some UConn players, right? You talked about Castle go. Where did Castle go again?
Castle went number 4.
2.
Klingon went number 7. Newton went in the second round. I don't know if Spencer got signed as a G League or something. I mean, it's here's the deal. We can say this and we'll move on. Big High, University of North Carolina, Player of the Year 2 years ago, comes back last year, plays again, wasn't drafted.
Yeah,
he got signed to a minor league, Denver, no, Minnesota.
He could play too.
That's how quote unquote weak this draft is.
Oh yeah,
we're both sitting here just trying to figure. For 20 minutes we're just spinning our wheels of going, way to go, Bronny, way to ruin everything. And then
the kid from NC State not go. That's another.
Well, that guy got drafted.
Did
I
he
think
go
it was late second round, but I believe either he got drafted or he got signed to a minor league near chief.
I think he got signed to a minor league deal. Like Bronny, right. I saw a bunch of things saying, how does this guy go 55th and this guy doesn't get drafted? It takes his team to the Final Four. And it's true. It's true. But, I guess.
But with every draft comes July 1st. And what's July 1st?
Bobby Bonilla Day.
And
NBA
free agent
agency?
signing day.
That's right.
So the NBA is now running around, and everyone can open their mouths. Everyone can say, like, hey, I was texting this guy or that guy, or went out to dinner here and there, and this, that, and the other. And it's
Freedom comes 3 days early in the NBA.
Pretty much. And it's been an absolute barrage of people moving around all over the place. So I've gotten a couple texts today of people going, I have to look at I always like, I take the information in, where people move, where everything goes around, and then I immediately go to the NBA futures.
Oh, that's brilliant, actually.
And I go, what does Vegas think about these moves and where these players were, where these teams were, and where they are now? So I haven't gotten there yet. So, I mean, biggest move so far? Who's your biggest move so far?
So let's start. We'll talk about two. Let's start with Chris Paul. Welcome to the Chris Paul retirement party. This is his last contract. To me, he'll play his year. 1 year, $11 million in San Antonio.
Yep.
And I believe that it was an extension from Popovich as, hey, great NBA career. We'd love to have you on the coaching staff a year from now.
Okay.
That's the way I look at that one. The biggest signing, I think, it's got to be Paul George. I understand the Mikal Bridges in New York and the Nova Knicks does help their bench, but before Paul George went over to Philadelphia wasn't able to compete for a championship. And I think it gets them closer now. They signed Maxey to a long-term deal as well. The Paul George, how willing is he going to be? Because, we know what Nick Nurse can do with players of his caliber. I mean, it happened in Toronto. He didn't have much of a squad. He had Kawhi Leonard. Now he's got Embiid. He's got Maxey. He's got George. He's got some stuff. So that's my biggest move. And that hurts. By the way, the Clippers have no chance now.
Nope.
Done.
Clippers, where are you, you're little suckers? So while you were talking, of course, I'm over here doing my due diligence and trying to figure stuff out. Unfortunately, again, the Boston Celtics are the favorite to win the championship, 3-1. And Denver, which was right up there at 7.5-1. And then the Philadelphia 76ers jumped the Knicks.
Yeah.
Sixers are now 8-1, and the Knicks are 8.5-1.
I think it would have been nice if the Knicks found a way to keep Isaiah Hartenstein, because he was very good for them. I know he's not a star, and I know that he went to but he's going to really help Oklahoma City.
Sure, but
he's got a tough jump hook, and he's better to me offensively than Mitchell Robinson is worth defensively. I understand you got Mitchell Robinson there, and he's only going to rebound and block. I get it. But you need a guy that can give you 12 to 13. I think Hartenstein is the guy.
Like Hardaway Jr.?
Huh?
Like Hardaway Jr.?
Yeah, Hardaway Jr. Where did he end up?
Nothing.
He got something. He got traded.
He was trash.
He was trash.
He was dumpster.
Yeah, he was traded too.
It's like you said that you're going to have to. I mean, Boston's just loaded. Boston's just loaded again, and then they're just stupid deep. And then you look out, if Luka, the Joker, hit a treadmill a little bit, and I know that sounds like an asshole. It's an asshole comment to say.
It's not very nice.
But I think both of their health, both of their overall cardio could use a little bit more.
Yeah.
and we said it before. We'll say it again. Throughout the regular season, these guys just get up and down the floor. It's almost like watching an all-star game. Fuck the defense. Everyone launching from three. Blah 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 blah. 127, 124, 121. Everyone high five, slap hands, slap butts, get some orange wedges, and go home. But the second the playoff starts, it's just like everyone just becomes like that true American basketball. Like, go ahead, just drive down the lane. I dare you. Go ahead. Nope. He's in the second row. That sucks. No. And now all of a sudden you see 107, 101, 98, 92. Can you make your free throws? Can you make your free throws when you are absolutely sucking wind because you've had Kyrie Irving chasing you, or you're chasing Kyrie Irving all over the floor? And that's where, ultimately, each team will only go as far as their star. Boston doesn't necessarily have a singled out star, which you saw. Mm-hmm. They probably have 2, if not 3 MVPs that ran around on their floor. Philadelphia, how far are they going to go?
Probably as far as Embiid goes.
There you go. Dallas, how far are you going to go?
As far as Luka takes. I mean, Kyrie's
how far are you going to go with Denver?
Jokic.
How far are you going to go with Minnesota?
Edwards.
Each one has their one thing, and as long as they stay healthy, and unfortunately, between George and Embiid, it's not the best track record.
I want Paul George, and by the way, I understand that it has moved their odds in their favor, but let's not sit here and pretend like Paul George has won anything. And once upon a time, he had a conversation with Larry Bird about his contract in Indiana. And Larry goes, look it, first of all, I don't really appreciate you asking a LeBron James how to win a series. I'm right here. I can help you out. And you asking other players from other franchises shows weakness. So I'll give you a contract when you win something. And Paul George left.
Sure.
And he still hasn't won anything. And so he hasn't really learned. He has all the ability to take over games. And much like Kevin Durant, he doesn't. There were stretches with the Phoenix Suns, where Booker would give him all he had. And Bradley Beal wasn't hitting shots. And hey, Kevin, we need 8 points here. And he would pass the ball.
Yep.
And and that's the argument that him and Durant him and Green would get in. Green go, brother, if I could shoot like you, I'd shoot. I'd shoot and shoot and shoot until they stopped me. And, he doesn't do it. And Paul George has the ability to take people down the post. Doesn't do it. Passes way too much. And average 35. James Harden wants to average a lot of points. If Paul George had the James Harden want to, well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if Paul George had the James Harden want to, because he's got way more athletic ability, he'd be a monster. He's kind of just collecting checks to me.
They all look great on paper until they get it on the floor, and then all of a sudden they say, "We saw what." You remember the Brooklyn Nets? Yeah. The big 3. This has got to work, and it was an absolute dumpster fire. Talent will only take you so far until hard work and teamwork will carry you the rest of the way. Do you have the guy on your bench that goes, I don't give a fuck how many points I score? Yeah, My job is to figure out whoever shoots the most and get in his face for as many minutes as you want me on the floor, coach. And that's it.
That's why, to me, I understand injuries and time that he can actually play has hurt his career. But Kawhi Leonard getting off the couch and going and winning a title in Toronto, that's real impressive. Because he walked into the building, okay, so Siakam, we have a couple guys here, and just galvanized the crew and walked into the playoffs and started winning games. And I feel like Kawhi Leonard knows the temperature of the room, right? We're down 6 points. Let me get 4 and see if I can get somebody else to really come along with me. If I
Right.
can't, I'll get 6 and play some defense. I'll pick it up. He's very much like Bernard Hopkins later on in his career. I'll figure out when to win the round. Don't
Right.
you worry. Don't talk to me. I know he won the first 2, but I'm gonna win 3, 4, and 5. And now I'm changing the judges.
Right.
And Paul George doesn't have that, and it drives me crazy that he just everything but it. That's the Paul George book.
Some people are built that way. So I mean, we'll talk again next week when everything kind of all settles. We can kind of get a good parameter of it. But I mean, I think but between the draft and between the free agencies, Boston's still the team to beat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you're going to have an absolute just pull hair and biting arms in the West between 1 through 5.
Yeah, they're good teams.
Again, I don't discount the Lakers. If you can get Clay, you can start getting offense again. Now you've got 3, 4. I mean, it's not like they have a terrible core. I don't see the Clippers moving forward. They went backwards. I don't see the Suns moving forward. They went backwards. So sooner somebody's got to move forward.
Yeah,
you're going to go. You're going to OKC, Minnesota, Denver, Dallas. There's your 4, and the Lakers are 5.
I just wonder how much Clay's got left.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
He doesn't do anything else really well besides shoot. And last year, his shooting percentage was lower than Draymond Green's. I'm just, I don't mean to lay it out there for you, Clay, but, you don't pass well. You don't follow the other team well. Draymond does that. I mean, there are things that you don't run an offense. You kind of run around and tire out other players.
JJ's got to figure out a way. JJ's got to figure out a way to get him. And again, it's what you do. That's you as a coach. You got to figure a way to get the most out of every single player you possibly can, and then find another 10%.
And if you bring Clay in, that's fine. Maybe he doesn't find the rhythm back, but him and Connect can work well together. That'd be nice.
See what we can do.
All right, let's transition here into Major League Baseball.
Okay,
that's what we got. We got Major League Baseball games, and there are teams out there that you messaged me earlier that are in their summer swoon.
Their summer swoon is that, we came out, we started, it's like the first 2-3 months of dating. Everything's great. You don't really realize that, your dirty socks bother her a little bit, or, she never really, she's a snorer, or, and everyone kind of gets along. And now all of a sudden we're starting to get into the, maybe this is going to work. And things are starting to irritate you a little bit. And now we're starting to get a little frustrated. And this is where you see all these teams that were just firing on all cylinders. Dodgers, Yankees, Orioles, Braves. Did I say the Phillies?
Yeah.
Phillies, just now all of a sudden are just realizing that, down goes Soto. Down goes Acuna. Down goes Strider. Down goes, your who they lose in LA. Not Frank.
That's broken hand.
Yes. And now all of a sudden we're no longer taking 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. We're struggling to split, if not going 1 for 3. Yankees, I think, are 3-11 over their last 14.
Yeah.
And Baltimore's licking their chops, coming right back up. The Phillies struggled, playing some good teams.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are it looks like they're going to lose, but somehow they don't. Because Ohtani's just like, dude, just get on my back, man. I'll carry you guys.
Yeah, the Dodgers are down 6-0 almost every game, and they're winning like 8-6, 9-6. They're figuring it out, and and it's good for the Dodgers, right? They're figuring it out in the later innings.
Yep.
And sometimes something like this, like losing a Mookie Betts, and your team prevailing in later innings helps your team later on down the road. I mean, the Dodgers winning like this is impressive. I would be reluctantly happy with the Mookie Betts injury because I know what happened to him. Ball hit his hand, ball broke his hand. Okay, the Soto stuff, little concerning. The Phillies having Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper with the hamstring and the pulling up going into first base, real interesting because it wasn't a ball that hit him. It wasn't, a pitch or anything like that. Broke his leg or anything. It's soft tissue. He's going on the 10-day, but 10 could turn into 20 and 30 and 40 or keep reoccurring. Bryce
Next
Harper
man up. Yep.
said he never felt anything like that in his whole career. I mean,
and this is where these other teams. It's just, I think both Central divisions are just quietly just being amassing wins. Playing good, solid baseball. Not winning 8-1 or 7-3, but 4-2, 5-3, 4, getting done what you need to get done. And now your powers are right there. I mean, who do you have? Who's your top 3 right now in the NL?
I don't have anything in front of me.
So who's your top 3 teams? Your power teams, like you believe are like, yep, these are the 3 that I'm going to see in the postseason.
In the NL, wait,
yep.
I do have something in front of me. Phillies, we'll see them.
Okay,
and this is why. It's not going to be the offensive outburst we saw early. Okay, they still have Nola, they still have Wheeler, and Suarez is throwing a curveball that starts in left field and ends in right field.
Who got absolutely rocked his last start.
Right, but when that thing is pulling on a string, he's unbeatable. He is. So the Phillies will get there.
Dodgers on the West. And then your wild card would be.
You know who I think it's going to be? I really do believe that they're going to come on. Well, I mean, you got to pick somebody from the Central, right?
You can. We've watched what's happened with the last 2 years where the Dodgers or the Braves get out there, get into the playoffs, and the Phillies just clip them.
Yeah, I do want to say something about the Chicago Cubs. I watched.
Oh, here we go.
No, it gets even worse.
Grab your popcorn, guys.
Grab your popcorn is right. I watched the Cubs a couple nights ago play the Giants, and you had a pitcher go into the 8th inning, and the manager came out and talked to him and pulled him. Fine. Brings in another guy. The other guy does just fine. Like, to me, closer's just a title, unless you have Rivera out there, unless you have Eckersley out there, unless you have an absolute monster closer. It's just a title. Everyone's throwing 93 and has a cutter and a curve, right? So this guy that was brought in, forgive me for his name, but he was brought in, got the guy out 3 pitches. He was not brought out to close the game. He only threw 3 pitches, got you out of a 2-run jam. Craig Counsell pulls him, brings in his closer. Okay, his closer walks the first batter. Then he allows a double. It was an error in the field. Right, then the guy steals, so he got a guy first and third. He comes back out, and instead of just giving this guy a breath, he pulls him, doesn't say a word to him, brings in this other guy who's a left-hander, and he's not a good pitcher. He's just 90 miles an hour, and he's a little awkward, walks the next guy. Long story short, the Giants win the game 5-4. They were down 4-2 going into the 9th, and only hit one ball. Craig Counsell mismanaged the game.
Or maybe his players didn't perform the best they were supposed to.
I was a little upset there. I was a little upset that he mismanaged the game. I became more upset. That happened on a Tuesday.
So I mean, do you blame the coach, or do you blame the players?
Because Counsell's really analytical, and he's not a gut player. He's not a gut coach. And if you listen, you needed to win this game. You need to win the game, and he stuck to exactly what his sheet said. Okay, I have a closer over here. I need to bring the closer in. But the guy prior, who usually throws 15 to 17 pitches, only threw 3. Leave that guy in. By the way, he's throwing heaters. He's throwing 97 pass batters. Bottom of the lineup. And I just thought to myself, that was a mismanaged situation. Oh, whatever. 1 week goes by, next week come by. The Chicago Cubs decided to give Craig Counsell a new contract to coach their ball.
Good for him.
Good for him. Bad for Cubs fans, because the team that he used to coach to the basement was the Milwaukee Brewers, and they're doing fantastical now. So good for the Brewers. It was obvious. It was an obvious mismatch.
I like it when sometimes you pull some statistics out and eliminate the overall picture, but Counsell was not the only reason why the Milwaukee Brewers were doing that bad.
No.
You can't blame that on your coach. Yes, it may be a part of it, and maybe that the manager didn't perform or put people in the way that you believed, or his players didn't perform. Ultimately, no player's going to be out there and go, I didn't succeed because of my coach.
No,
but every time the coach is always the one that gets axed on the other side.
I do feel like there's Dave Roberts is actually really good at it, the Dodgers coach. He does a really good job of feeling the rhythm of his team.
Look at the friggin' talent he has on his team.
Listen, but talent can implode. Talent could go sideways. I think
only if you're gambling on it.
Huh?
Only if you're gambling on it.
Well, I think talent could succeed. I mean, the Mets coach is doing a great job right now. A lot of talent, a lot of paper guys, and he couldn't figure out, and they held a managers and players only meeting. Now the best team in the month of June has been the Mets.
Actually, that's not true.
Who's the best team
in the month? In the NL? Maybe.
Yeah.
Overall, it's actually the Astros.
Oh, the Astros have been good too. The
Astros had the best record in June.
Actually, Tucker is just getting help. I mean, other people are starting to swing the bat. He's been 19 home runs and 35 RBIs. That's a joke. Nobody's on base for him ever in Houston.
Oh, well.
They're starting to do a little bit better in that regard.
Yeah.
But
I'm certain the AL, you want to go Yankees. I'm gonna, I'm just gonna say this just a little bit on my side, that to jump back in the NL real quick, and I understand those 3 teams. We basically picked each one of their division leaders. Picked the Phillies in the East, the Brewers in the Central, and the Dodgers in the West. But if this team can stay healthy, I think the Padres are going to make a lot of people uncomfortable in September.
Is that right?
They have solid pitching. They understand what a bunt is. They understand what a sacrifice is. You don't have a lot of people. Again, there's nothing better than watch Judge swing. I mean, you're just like that. Where is this ball going to land? Watching Ohtani swing, you're like, oh, sweet, another 450 moon rock off of the scoreboard. But again, it's not sexy. But if you can slap a ball over into right field and get your runner from first to third, that makes a difference.
All right, so that's your dark horse in the West, right?
I'm gonna quietly I don't know. Maybe bet the sofa, not the piano, but maybe bet the sofa that I would not be surprised at all to see the Padres in the NL Championship. I don't know. I mean that means that either Philadelphia or the Dodgers don't get in.
All right, so let's I want to have this. We'll do a bet your basement.
Bet my basement. Okay.
Bet your basement, right?
On July 1st.
So July 1st, bet your basement. And you can only pick 2 out of these 6 basement teams to make the wild card. Basement's bottom 2. So here's
to make the wild card?
They have to make the wild card.
Oh
here's your basement
God.
teams. Here we go. Ready? In the NL East, you got the Mets and the Marlins. This is dating back a couple weeks ago.
Where are you?
I have in my hands. This is dating back a couple weeks ago.
All right. So hold on. Let's go backwards. So I have it in front of me. So right now it's actually the Nationals and the Marlins that are in the bottom 2 in the East.
Okay.
It's the Reds and your new favorite team, the Cubs.
Well, it's not hard to figure out.
In the Central. And you have the Giants and the Rockies in the West.
The team that I would put that I would. So I like the Nationals. I like the Nationals as one of the teams because they're young. They have hitters. I've seen them a couple times, and they have an ace. They have an ace.
So again, I can cheat a little bit.
Okay, and
because I get to see the records and you don't.
The Reds have the most stolen bases, and I just think as catchers become more tired, the temperature comes up. The Reds are finding ways, despite not hitting the ball great, to just take bags. So I think if that division, becomes a little bit more lethargic over the summer hot months, I think De La Cruz and the Reds could start getting sneaky.
I hear you. My only,
you know what I mean, though?
You
know what I mean, though? Like all of a sudden you're like, how'd we lose 3-2? Well, they took 6 bags on you.
So,
you weren't paying attention.
If you're going to take the Reds,
yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christmas. So I'm going to do the antithesis of what I just said, and I'll take the Giants.
Okay.
And I'll believe that the Padres don't do what we need them to do. And they fall apart. So the Giants get to beat up on the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. And slowly, the Giants gave the Dodgers all sorts of hell this last weekend.
Diamondbacks are good, though.
But unfortunately, the Dodgers came through. And let the Giants kind of work their way through there. Their run differential is -29, which isn't terrible.
Okay.
They're great, 25-19 at home. A train wreck on the road.
Okay. I love those picks, by the way.
Wild card to get in would be the Padres, and my basement would be the Giants. Padres and Giants. We gotta get that on paper.
Put it on the board. I like the Reds.
Nobody's perfect.
I don't.
All right, so we got 7-1.
I'll take the Reds. And God, I think the Diamondbacks are way better than they're playing.
No, all right, so you're I got the So who's your surprise team to get into the NL championship?
To get into the NL champ,
So this is basement.
I like what the Mets are doing, but I don't believe in their pitching, and I've seen some of their pitching. It's just not going to get there. I do like the Reds to come out of the basement.
We've established that, sir. You need to move on.
Yes. I think the team with the most talent that's underperforming right now is the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
They went to the World Series last year. I gotta believe that they have enough to come together as a group and really
Yeah.
make some noise.
Let's
You
see
want to
if I
move on to the
can-
AL?
Yeah, man.
We'll have some fun
So
there.
let's I'm gonna, and I don't think it's necessarily fair here. So let's
Yeah, you have the stats. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna give you 4 teams.
Okay.
You don't get the Orioles, you don't get the Yankees, you don't get Cleveland, and you don't get Seattle.
I would like to say something about Cleveland, just for a second. Jose Ramirez, I watched him, and he's not like this world beater of a guy, right? He's this huge hulking Albert Bell or Manny Ramirez. That
Joey.
Yeah, right. Not just this huge guy. He'll swing, and then when he has an opportunity, he'll poke. Swing and poke. He reminds me a lot. His stature
Bend and
and kind
snap.
of just getting hits. He reminds me of Tony Gwynn a little bit.
Oh, do I have a stat for you?
I don't want to do that to him, but he really, as I watched him play, I went, heck, he really reminds me of singles, doubles, triples, singles. You're like, geez, this guy's 3 for 4, and they're not. Sometimes somebody fumbles a ball and he takes the second base, and you're like, he's just a great baseball player. And guys like him don't come up on statistics everywhere, but they are. Okay. That's what I want to say about Jose Ramirez.
Okay.
Teams that could make it in.
And I'm not. So I don't. I mean, so we're trying to find somebody who's a huge dark horse to make it to the NL Championship, not the basement
AL,
dwellers,
right?
out of the AL.
Yeah. I'll tell you. I watched the Royals the other day. They weren't really impressive. There's 2 teams for me because I think they're going to make I think the Astros are going to win the AL West.
Okay.
I'm not an Astros fan, but I mean,
No
Tucker
decent
gets some
human
help.
being is.
No decent human being is. Oh, you're right. I think the Astros are going to win that division, and I believe that not only the Minnesota Twins will take the wild card, but I think they have the best pitching. And if their bats come around like they're starting to, with Buxton's got 4 home runs in the past 5 games. Correa's hitting the ball. He's gone from a 283 average to 3.17 now. Castro, the Twins are starting to hit the ball, and they have the pitching. And I just kind of believe that if you're looking at a team that's really good, but not quite good enough to catch the Guardians, because I don't think the Guardians are going to start losing. I would say the Twins and the Astros. What do you think about those picks?
Well, you've picked 2 teams, and you only get to pick 1 team.
I'll take the Twins.
Okay. I like where your head's at. I think the Twins will. It's gonna be tough. So
I
1,
know.
2. They're just give me 1 sec. 1, 2, 3. The Twins right now are tied for 5th. Followed by the Royals 6th and the wild card.
I think the Royals start tailing off. They're a fun ball club. They started off hot. They're winning really close games. Let's put it this way: they're not putting a ton of runs on the board. They're winning really close games.
Right.
As long as we don't sit here and say, "Hey, the White Sox or the Athletics or the Angels," I think we're in good company with all those other ideas.
I don't see anybody coming out of the West except for Seattle or the Houston Astros. I think the Houston Astros. So it's gonna hurt, and I'm gonna kick myself in the hoo ha. But I think the Houston Astros catch Seattle,
Yeah,
and get in, and get the 3 seed, and are gonna work their way through somehow, some way, and get to the AL championship. And I'm going to go throw up the second we get off live here, and possibly start cutting to try.
You know what I think? I think you're wrong. I think you're right and wrong. I think what happens is you get the same matchup that we got last year, which is Minnesota and Houston. This time, Minnesota finds a way to manufacture more runs because they've brought in guys that steal bags in the Castros and the other quick players that they've accumulated, and they beat Houston this time. Now,
no. I'm not picking the AL winner. I'm just saying that one of those two teams in the AL championship as a dark horse is going to be the Houston Astros. And you're saying one of those two teams as a dark horse is going to be the Twins.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, our basement dwellers are down there. And we're going to be in a lot of trouble here. So you got Tampa, Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, Angels, and Athletics.
Gotta pick one.
So good Lord. The only one I can take is Tampa.
No, yeah, and what's tough is they have the team, but there's such a lead ahead of them, so it's tough there.
But they're not. So just see, Tampa's 500 right now.
Okay, how many games back are they? You got
the wild card?
Yeah,
5.
Okay, let's do it.
Wait, hold on. Let me do the math here again. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Yeah, I mean, if any team could do it, because
6.
the Tigers aren't. The Tigers.
No, they're 5 games back. They would be 6th or something like that.
Tigers can't catch the AL.
I mean, you're going to have to leapfrog. You're going to have to leapfrog Boston. The problem with Tampa is that their run differential is minus 56 at a 500 team, and you get to go run around and go play with Baltimore and New York, and Boston, which is just absolutely no fun.
You know, Boston surprised a little bit this year. You know,
they're 5 games over 500. Not really good at home for some reason. Good on the road.
They're picked last. Yeah, because no one's showing up for them. They picked to finish last in that division. The Blue Jays are embarrassing themselves. All that young talent, and it's just going to waste. I mean,
yeah,
that's a manager that's going to lose his job, and I'm not calling for it, but I mean, you got
sounds like you are, you hater.
No, I'm not. I called for Craig Counsell.
There it is.
There it is. But, you know, he just can't get the young talent to produce enough in Toronto. And unfortunately, you know, you start looking around and going, are the Red Sox more talented than us? I got Vlad Guerrero. I've got Bichette. I've got all these guys. And we're not scoring enough. Pitching's not great. You know, it's a little tough.
So who's your bottom dweller?
I'll take I guess I'll take the Rays with you.
Yeah.
I really, you know what I'd like to see? I'll at least, because that sounds like sadness. That's summertime sadness. Here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the Oakland Athletics.
Oh my God.
Listen to me though for a minute. This
isn't Moneyball anymore.
Motoring away, winning games, making that owner sad, fans showing up to the games. That would be a ton of fun.
That ought to shut these people up.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Just watching them win games 4-2, 5-3. The A's are on a 10-game winning streak. Yeah, and just a bunch of nobodies. Nobody knows who they are. Start hitting. That's what I'd like to. Fine. You pick the Rays. I'll pick the A's.
That's just a waste of. That's a waste of a pick. You lost your basement. Your basement's fucking flooded.
Your basement's
flooded with shitty picks.
Well, I want to see it, so I got to root for something I want to see.
I want to see Joey Chestnut on Thursday, but I'm not going to see it. So
I'm eating hot dogs. Are you eating hot dogs?
Absolutely.
You want to eat hot dogs on Thursday?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm trying to make it happen.
It's not really hard
No, we're
to
going
eat
to do it
hot
live.
dogs on Thursday.
Oh, no, we're going to do it live. We're eating hot dogs live on Thursday.
Well, are you doing a Hatfield? What are you doing? Hatfield? Oscar Mayer?
I don't know.
Nathan's?
I'm gonna slam hot dogs with toppings. I'm gonna be a real hot dog.
You're gonna buy like that little like chicken dog with the little cheese in the middle.
No way. Ballparks all the way, baby. We're talking about ballparks. I'm eating ballparks.
You're gonna have like half turkey, half tofu dog.
I don't have to take this.
Some sort of.
Any last thoughts for our Sports-Sesh?
Let's see. I'll give you two.
Okay.
One's a fun fact. One is just going to absolutely epitomize the United States. Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz. Shit. And I forgot the fourth pitcher because I had it, then I lost it. Faced Tony Gwynn all throughout their career. All four of the pitchers, and if I was really smart, I would remember the fourth pitcher. All four pitchers have over 3,000 strikeouts. Over the career of Tony Gwynn facing those four pitchers, they struck him out 4 times. 2 of them never struck him out. 12,000 strikeouts between the 4 of them, and they could only strike out Tony Gwynn 4 times.
That's crazy.
That's just a stupid stat. Absolutely stupid stat. And what's going to happen around, let's see, 5, 7, around 10 o'clock tonight, the United States is going to figure out a way to lose to Uruguay. And they're going to get knocked out of their own Copa Cup on their own home field. 2 years away from the World Cup, which is here. Everyone's going to get fired. And yet we still, with over 350 million people, cannot produce a soccer team that is competitive worldwide. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. And it drives me up a friggin' wall. And we're going to watch it. I think it's on FS1 tonight. There's nothing else on. It's only baseball and this.
Uruguay's good.
Uruguay's 11. Nope, Uruguay's. I even wrote it down. Uruguay's 14.
Probably shouldn't have lost the.
United States is 11. 11. Lost to Panama, the 43rd team in the world.
So we're not a real 11.
I don't know what's going on. It is absolutely painful to watch a country with so much talent and so much money and so much funding absolutely shit the bed every time they take the field or the pitch or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Put the ball in the net. I'm done with that.
All right. Well, that's why this is a Sports-Sesh, right? You begin, you get some stuff off your chest, right? You feel a little bit better at the end. And
eat a hot dog.
And you eat a hot dog, right? You find a little bit of aggression next time.
Cool.
Guys, I'm just gonna ask you to like and subscribe. It's not a big deal. It's a click. It's a thumb movement, right? Just like and subscribe to our pages on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. You'll get all this kind of information that we give you anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week. That's all.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you having me on here. I had a great time.
All right. Fun as always on a Monday.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way.
All right. We'll see you again next Monday. Fantasy.
Yes, sir.
Sesh. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Have a great day.